I want you to think about your imaginary friend when you were a child. Chances are, you probably don't remember ever having one. So for the sake of this video, let's pretend that you did. What would they be like? I want you to really use your creative mind here. They could have any ability, look however the way you imagine them, and have any personality. Now, let's pretend that imaginary friend was real and he or she had real emotions. That would be an amazing creature, wouldn't it? Now, here's the problem. Once we grow older, we automatically either forget about them or completely abandon them altogether. Obviously, those imaginary friends would need somewhere to live, but luckily, there is an orphanage for those original characters who have been forsaken. Enter Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends. This cartoon was truly one of a kind. I admire how every character is completely different and has something about them that makes them stand out. We all have our favorite imaginary friend from this cartoon, and I'm willing to bet that the majority's is this guy right here. However, it wasn't just the characters that made this show work. That was only half the equation. The other half is the series' main message, the importance of friendship. If I could pick one episode that summarizes the entire series in a nutshell, it would be the 90-minute special, Destination Imagination. After rewatching this for the first time since I was about 9 years old, I can say without hesitation that I absolutely love the concepts and themes presented here. Frankie Foster, the caregiver of Foster's Home, is fed up with being underappreciated and desires more respect. She stumbles upon a toy box and is told not to open it by Mr. Harriman, who is Frankie's boss. She disobeys his orders, however, believing that there is an imaginary friend trapped inside. She opens the box and falls in to discover that this toy box is magical and has an entire world inside of it. After realizing that this world she fell into is actually paradise and treats her like a queen, she feels no need to return to Foster's and decides to stay. Back over at Foster's, the rest of the crew begins to worry about the disappearance of Frankie, so they attempt to search for her whereabouts. They come to the conclusion that the toy box ate her, so they all fall in the same way Frankie did. The crew then go on this epic adventure to save their lost friend. Along the way, they encounter Weebly-like policemen, travel across a river of plastic balls, attempt to cross a piano-like bridge only to fail, and then proceed through a Super Mario World-like environment. Yes, this movie is very creative with its art direction. It's interesting looking back at cartoon movies such as this one. It really makes you look at your childhood favorites differently. We are later introduced to a new character who goes by the name World, who is just a face who can animate and control seemingly anything he latches onto. Think of it kinda like Super Mario Odyssey's capture ability.
That's right! I'm everything! I'm everywhere! I'm everyone!
No, you're not. You're just one guy and you're the only guy in the whole world and you can only be in one place or one thing at one time.
At first glance, World appears to be the villain of this movie.
First I tried to chase you out.
Then I took you to the most dangerous places to scare you out.
And then I tried to trap you here to keep you from Frankie, but you just wouldn't go away!
But he actually has a fond relationship with Frankie, and later we learn that he only reverts to his wicked ways because of the fear of losing the one and only friend he has in the world. Mac and the crew do end up finding Frankie, but she is hesitant about the idea of returning home to Foster's, which causes the crew to begin whining about how much they miss her taking care of them.
Oh, I get it. You didn't come to rescue me because you missed me. You missed all the stuff I used to do for you.
What? No,
Well, you can forget it. I'm sick of taking care of everybody and everything and never getting a word of thanks, an ounce of help, or a tiny little smidgen of respect. You guys are just like Mr. Harriman. I'm just a servant to you. Well, guess what? In this world, I'm the one who's taken care of, and that's the way I like it.
Frankie is now heartbroken. The intent was to persuade Frankie to return home, but the crew completely missed the mark. This scene really makes us question who our true friends are and just how faithful we are ourselves. as friends. Some of us go our entire lives without questioning the legitimacy of our relationships because the truth hurts. It can be scary to face reality head on. The person who we thought was our friend could end up being an evil manipulator if we're not careful. That being said, I do think it is important to at least become aware of whether or not we are being used and taken advantage of. Everyone deserves a friend who will love them for who they are. This is why Frankie and World have such a genuine connection. They both have dealt with feelings of being neglected and mistreated. Later, when World reveals his shocking backstory that his owner's parents separated him from his one and only friend, Frankie immediately understands his pain. Although she lets him know that it isn't okay to mistreat other people. World and the crew set aside their differences, but Mr. Harriman shows up and ruins everything. He informs World that he's taking Frankie and the crew home and leaving him in the toy box, hoping that he will learn his lesson. World completely loses it and goes absolutely insane.
Frankie is mine! Mine!
Good heavens! What's happening?
You picked them up! That's what's happening!
Causing mass destruction to the environment with the intent to stop the gang from reaching the exit. This is when the animation shows its true colors. The crew sprint through these trippy backgrounds and landscapes as the world crumbles beneath them. It's truly a spectacle. The destruction increases until there is nothing left but a white void. World then turns into a dragon-like creature and its power level reaches over 9,000. Frankie realizes that World isn't going to hurt her, so she sacrifices herself to allow the rest of the crew to escape. Somehow, Frankie manages to convince World to let her out under one condition, and that is she will return the favor by letting World out of the box and into the real world. This promise is quickly declined by the rest of the crew. That is until Mr. Harriman provides Frankie with an unexpected apology and his trust. He then randomly smiles and it looks really weird, but yeah, World is set free and can now fully express himself in a home that admires his uniqueness. In the words of Frankie Foster, imagine if you were able to have anything you ever wanted, except one thing, but that one thing is what you wanted more than anything else. For World, that thing was a friend. That's all he ever wanted. That's what he was trying to protect. This character can easily be mistaken as the villain of this movie. But when you put yourself in his shoes, you start to understand why he behaves the way that he does. The truth is, he was completely misunderstood and didn't know how to control his emotions. In our society nowadays, it's easy to revert to name calling and seeking revenge on the people who have wronged us in the past. Our confusion automatically leads to our frustration when the answers are found in their backstory. How were they raised? What traumatic experiences have they gone through? For World, he was literally trapped in a box his whole life. Sure, he has the entire universe to himself, but what he was missing was a purpose. What he was missing was a friend. There is much to love about Foster's home for imaginary friends, whether it's the creativity of the main characters or the charming life lessons such as the one showcased in this movie, that it doesn't matter who you are or what you've done. We all deserve appreciation because we are all special in our own right. This cartoon made me realize the impact just one good friend could make on somebody's life. This was made to express. Thanks for watching. Alright, that is a wrap for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed. I know this video took a little bit longer to produce than some of my usual content, but that's because I really wanted to make sure that this video was as good as it can possibly be, so hopefully the wait was worth it. Please hit that like button for me and share this video with a friend who might need to hear something like this. I really hope that I was able to make your guys' day a little bit better. Thank you so much for 10K. I couldn't be more excited for the future of this channel. And yeah, I guess I'll see you all in the next one. Don't forget to express yourself. Have a great one.